And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the Lakers and also everything else that's going on there. But in the world of pop culture, we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. Plus, also as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football and Game Source. We truly appreciate you joining us for those great shows as well. Plus, also Lakerholics.com. Laker Tom, you know he's giddy as a schoolboy when he's going to go ahead and tell you about it tomorrow at 10 a.m. for Lakerholics Spotlight. But join him and Jamie Sweet right there, right there for you at Lakerholics.com. Plus, also as well, Joe Soro, LakersBall.com, is Oxide 47. You know they're all up in arms over Max Christie's best performance by far of the year. I don't know if he'll be able to top it. Let's hope he can. But Lakers Ball is excited, and go ahead and join them and Ox1747 at LakersBall.com. Plus, also, of course, our good friends Empire Jeff TV, Daniel Barry Sports Highlights, who's actually made a comment right below. Also, as well, go ahead and check out what John McCallion and, of course, Lakers in 5 are doing as well. And, of course, we have a brand new sponsor. That's right, a brand new sponsor for a little while to see if they like us and if we like them. We tried it out. Actually, Magic Man did. He has liked it. It's called Magic Mind. That's right. If you want a supplement today, a supplement that hopefully will help you crush procrastination, crush brain fog, although Joe still has some brain fog. Hopefully this will help it. And boost your motivation and focus. Go ahead and check out magicmind.com. Absolutely, really a good-looking supplement. Magic has already tried it. He has liked it. He'll tell you more about it when he goes ahead and talks on the air. But I wanted to tell you right now, we have a special code for you. If you like what you see when you go to magicmind.com, you check it out, you're thinking, you know what, I might need a 15 or a 30 bottle set. I think I'm going to go ahead and order. If you order today, or if you order anywhere down the line while we're still an active member with them and while they're still an active sponsor with us, and use the code Lakers20, that is Lakers20, Lakers and the number 2 and the number 0. Go ahead and get that today. You put that in the code as far as upon your checkout, and you get 20% off your order. Order 15 or 30 bottles right there for you. I tried it out myself, saw the code, works great. Go ahead and check it out today, magicmind.com. Also as well, don't forget to subscribe. Please like and subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. No Limit 754, $5 right there for us on the Super Chat. Thanks so much for doing it. Truly appreciate it. Had a lot of fun on playback. Glad they fed AD down the stretch and no more late LeBron's threes, please. Yeah, he was really off on his threes today. He was the old LeBron there. But the Lakers, though, they came into this 4-game road trip on the road in a familiar surrounding for LeBron James in and around the Ohio area in Cleveland as he came home to the place he's found former glory with. How would he do today? Well, he did play with a lot of energy. He did play with a lot of vigor, but unfortunately his shot was off today, so we're kind of worried. But the Lakers, offensively, everywhere else was pretty good because AD, they finally found and noticed him in the second half. 32 points and 13 rebounds, 3 block shots. Max Christie with the game of his season, probably his young career, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and some key defense against Mitchell right there for you. So hopefully he will continue the good stretch of defense like he played against Donovan Mitchell today. But for the most part, the defense was missing on both ends of the floor because these two teams seem to be able to score on each other inside at will in the key, especially in the first half. The Lakers continually down by 1, 3, 5, 7, finally got the upper hand in the fourth quarter and pulled away just enough despite a terrible overturn, absolutely terrible overturn on a call by the refs where he was fouled by Evan Mobley. I don't know. I thought hands on the back was still a foul. I guess it isn't when it's LeBron. So I guess that doesn't count. And the Lakers still, even though they gave up an 8-point lead and got it down to one, the Cleveland Cavaliers could not finish it off, and the Lakers pulled away enough to go ahead and escape Cleveland with a 121 to 115 victory. Christian Wood, I want to give him some props. He shot well in the first half, and the Lakers completely forgot about him the rest of the game. Darvin Ham sat him down for some unknown reasons, just couldn't get really figure out why, and he just got cold from there and could not find his rhythm for the rest of the game. But he did start off the first half really well with 13 points. Jackson Hayes, 5 of 5. They found him on several lobs, plus 14 and 10 points on the day for him. And Austin Reeves, a little bit shaky here and there, 15 points and 10 assists. D'Angelo Russell did not shoot well, 10 points and 5 assists on 4 of 12 shooting. Torian Prince, 7 points and 6 assists from him, another ho-hum game. But yes, Max Christie, big key. We talked about him finally having to have a big game after 15 games and now finally 60, I'm sorry, 17 games, and finally he did it. And here today to go ahead and discuss that, his great performance, AD finally turning it up in the second half, and the Lakers finding just enough defense, just enough defense to go ahead and pull out the win. It's a good man indeed. It is a guy so great a part of what we're doing here at the Lakers Fast Break. And the guy who has tried Magic Mind. Remember, magicmind.com, Lakers 20 to get 20% off your order today. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Magic Man, great to have you here. You've been really hitting the Magic Mind, getting your brain focused, watching the game. How was it for you watching the game today against the Cavaliers?
Well, I kind of had an epiphany during the game, Gerald, as I was watching it, and I'm not sure if that's completely attributable to Magic Mind, but I'm taking it right now, so I can't say I would have had it without it. But
I
that
might have.
being
I think I needed it during the game because it was really irritating me the way the Lakers were giving up so many interior points.
it was, Gerald, it was, and if I may, I think I hit the nail on the head, because I think I finally figured out what ails the Lakers, like the primary problem defensively. And Gerald, it's that little space between the top of the top of the key and the nail. That's where we're getting destroyed. Um, I think it's a combination of a couple of things. One is that we're missing Jared Vanderbilt, and you're also missing Cam Reddish tonight. Those two guys specifically themselves can try and hinder or uh, obscure dribble penetration by the angles they can take and the length that they have. So that's missing. Another problem that we've seen is that guards are very willing to live with Anthony Davis coming up to hedge and recover if it means that there are poor defensive rotations. And that was what was happening for the first 2.5 quarters, Gerald. The Lakers were up 78-73, Gerald, and I'll take you back to that sequence, okay? The Cavaliers went on a 10-0 run before LeBron made a layup. Lakers are up at that point, are down 83-82, come back, get an 88-85. Cavs go on another run. Cavs go on a 7-0 run. After that, Darvin Ham calls a timeout, Gerald, and I'm not sure what he did, but Max Christie really tried to play as good nail defense as a Laker guard has played all year. He really tried to deny that dribble penetration. Hats off to Max. Really played gutsy today, and he tried to keep up with Donovan Mitchell from 94 feet, Gerald. The on ball pressure was pretty good. Yeah, he had some trouble with the big trees trying to get around screen Cheryl, but who doesn't with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen? I mean, that's a problem.
But we talked about this with Reddish and Christie, my friend. Reddish, how many games did it take before he finally clicked on offense?
A long time, about
Eight
8
games.
games.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the 17th game of the season, and Christie finally has a good game. I don't know if that's a great ratio, 1 to 17, but you know what? He did show up today. He played well on Spider. Spider was coming back off the injury, so people are saying he's rusty. You could say what it is, what it not, but yeah, Christie played well regardless. He shot just well enough to go ahead and be a distraction on the offensive end for them. And the fact is, on defense, he did play well enough to go ahead and give Spider a good day. But my God, about time after 17 games, he played finally a good game this season.
Absolutely, Gerald. And on top of that, the cherry on top was the fact that Max Struess was getting open when he was
Yes.
guarded by Austin Reeves. Yet Cleveland was not really looking for him as much as I thought they would, Gerald.
They picked
Um,
on Austin at times, but not
they
as much as
did,
they should.
yeah. You're right. I mean, Bickerstaff was spotty with it, but I thought to address what you said, Joe, I thought they would have done it a lot more, but Struess was able to get open. Austin's still having trouble, as we could see with just getting around that that pick there. I mean, Struess was open for a good second and a half when he hit that corner three to when the Cavs made it 113-110 for the Lakers. But other than that, it was passable.
Yeah.
The defense after that timeout was passable for about 17 and a half minutes. They played really well. And good on Darvin Ham for adjusting there because without Reddish, without Vanderbilt, and you can't really you can't really play any junk defense because you don't really have that one guy you could sick on the best perimeter player. It's hard to play a hybrid defense, especially with D'Lo and Austin being slow footed. So that's out. You can't really play diamond one or box and one. That's so his hands are tied with what he could do schematically with Reddish out. But they did their darndest. They got the win. I was happy about it. I was really worried in that first quarter, Gerald, when it's 40-35. I thought, "Oh my goodness, is this happening again?"
Again, when it comes to it, great game by Max Christie. A lot of credit to him. But you guys are just going off. That's like in playback.tv/Lakers fast break, and here they're just like Max MVP, MVP. It's like, come on, guys.
It's one game.
Yeah, it's one game. As Laker Tom would tell you, it's just one game. If he needs to do this on a regular basis, when you put him in there for 15, 20, 25-minute shots like he's getting lately, he needs to do this on a consistent basis. He hopefully will take this as a confidence booster, which we talked about during the course of the summer league. He played with confidence. He played with control. He played under control. He played with confidence. He played with the kind of fervor. He played like he was there, like the game was slowed down to him and he could easily go ahead and manipulate what
No,
was going on.
he looked like a basketball player tonight. He looked like he fit in
Now
with what they
tonight,
were trying to do.
it's the first time he's looked anywhere near that since that first preseason game. So definitely a great sign that hopefully he can take that going forward and absolutely go ahead and be able to use this as a confidence booster because he is a free agent at the end of the season. So yes, let's hope he can do that. I know that at the very end, Magic Man, and I'll get it to Joe here in a second, but I know that the very end that not everybody was liking the three guard lineups, but Max was playing well. If you want to have your two experienced ball handlers out there with LeBron and AD, that's something you have to deal with is that they're going to have a guy like that out there like that instead of maybe a Torian Prince or someone else.
Yeah, comes with the territory with him. That's a nice tumbler you got there, sir.
Thank you. I was showing Kurt Affair my drink.
Just staying on the topic, guys, but Magic Man, again, Max Christie needs to use this as a confidence booster going forward, my friend.
Really?
Absolutely, Gerald. Yeah, hopefully it's a springboard for him and not one hit wonder.
I
But
agree. It better be not 17 times before he
oh,
has
he's
a
gonna.
game like this
Well,
again.
guess what? If Cam Reddish is not ready to go on Monday, guess what? Hughes Simon he gets, Gerald gets to guard Maxi.
Yes, absolutely.
Tyrese Maxey. So we're
Yeah.
gonna see how much he's learned and how much confidence he's got because that kid can light up anybody.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do win 121 to 115. They go to 10 and 7, 10 and 7, 10 and 7 on the year. Also here today, good man indeed. It is the guy that here, along with Laker Nick, was a great part of our playback.tv/Lakers fast break coverage. A big shout out to Laker Nick who stopped by for the pregame and playback. It is Joe Sorrell, big smile right there, even though he didn't have it most of the game because it was very irritating to watch on the defensive end. This team, who has provided pretty good defense for the most part for the most of the season, decided not to go ahead and utilize it today. Kept us nervous, but yet did just enough, Joe, offensively. Finally recognized AD. AD was very assertive in that second half, and despite a off shooting game from LeBron, got the job done.
Yeah, the frustration during the game was exhausting to the point where I had said on playback that I was tired of listening to myself complain. Reminded me of that movie As Good as It Gets when Jack Nicholson goes in to talk to Greg Kinnear and they're talking about their ailments and Greg Kinnear's character is talking about how he's lost.
Very underrated actor, by the way.
I mean, he came out the gate on that one pretty well. That was his first big role and got an Oscar nod for it. But he's just sitting there. He's just like you barely have enough energy to have the will to complain. I was running out of gas complaining the whole time to the point where I was trying to say to myself, this is what is going on everywhere, right? It's not just in LA. And yet this is the most efficient way to play basketball. I think that's probably what's exhausting about this. Is this the most efficient way to play basketball? Like you're a bunch of hyenas running around like a bunch of jackals?
I just don't expect it when you've got an AD, when you've got Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. That last year they were known specifically for their defense, and so were the Lakers, known specifically for their defense. Guys, to see them going head back and forth like this, I expect it if they're playing Indiana, but I don't expect it when they're playing Cleveland, especially Cleveland, who is very much, for the most part, an offensively challenged team. Joe,
Yeah, I don't know necessarily if that means anything anymore. An offensively,
obviously it doesn't.
yeah, they still scored 40 points in the first quarter, and they scored 71 points in the first half. The Lakers did tighten up the defense enough to hold the team to 44 points in the second half. AD, I want to talk about AD a little bit. It's easy to go to Max, and it's easy to go to all the other mistakes, but I'm really wanting to understand something here. Can someone ask Anthony Davis why he does this? Why does he look pedestrian in the first half and almost the entire time in the last game? And then in the third quarter of this game, look like a guy that was about to own the league again? I am puzzled by why this happens. I really want to know. What is going on in his head? What clicks to turn it on and then turn it off? Because it's not an accident that when he plays like that, the Lakers all of a sudden start clamping down on things. And boy, did Reeves go all out for those defensive rebounds toward the end of the game. You got to give him props
Yeah.
for that is all we're asking
Probably got
folks.
some bruised ribs for falling on the floor.
Yes. That's what we're asking. We're asking for that kind of effort because that's what closed the game. You don't go all out on those things. Cleveland probably gets the ball, tips it back in, and then we're dealing with this constant BS of offensive rebounds costing us games. Sean wasn't on playback, but I had mentioned the Lakers allow more second chance points than any team in the league. Not a surprise, but I had a number attached to it. It was 18 points, a little over 18 points a game. And I had extrapolated the numbers. I said, if you are able to stop half of those, you probably win 3 more games. That's how crucial those offensive rebounds can be to your team in terms
Oh,
of
it's huge.
negativity.
It's huge.
So they tonight, for the first time this season, I saw them go all out and getting those rebounds, and specifically Austin Reeves. And Austin Reeves has steadily gotten better and better every game, which I tried not to get on Austin too much again because I saw this already last year. He might have just needed to get kind of ramped up a little bit. But the Lakers, God, I don't know, man. I don't know how to judge these games anymore. I maybe we need to just start enjoying the games.
I saw a problem tonight, Joe. I'm not sure if you heard me earlier. We need to see Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, and Anthony Davis play together defensively before you really sink your teeth into the issues and figure out if there really is a problem. That's the bugaboo. Is that Vanderbilt's close to coming back, Gerald? We keep hearing this. And good for him for breaking us. I saw him breaking a sweat for once, Gerald. Progressing during his activity, but he needs to get back as soon as possible because you need to see Reddish, Vanderbilt, and AD together on the floor to figure out what else is, because we know something is missing. Even if I think everything went well with the moves that we made in the end, there's still one or two issues that we're gonna have to remedy, but the big one is to get everybody healthy and see what we have first. But I'll say this: 10-7, you are 2 games out of a top 2 seed in the West, Gerald. You are also 2 games away from the top team in the NBA. That's the Boston Celtics. So, as you know, as choppy as things have been, they could be a lot worse. And I'll take 10-7 right now.
Still, there are games that we've left on the table, Magic Man, and I'm hoping that the Lakers can go ahead and rectify some of that. But then again, they're still going on the road, which has not been their friend. So hopefully we'll see better things as we head into Philly on Monday against Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and the Philadelphia 76ers. Joe, I want to ask you this: when it comes to what you saw with the Lakers today, offensively, it was just a game that you can't fault too much outside of LeBron. Going back to what we saw last year, 1 of 9 from outside the arc, absolutely inefficient. But he tried to get to the hole and missed a lot of easy layups. Still, even though the Lakers were up 8, it was just kind of scary. We've seen this act before. The Lakers go up 8 late in the game and almost let the whole thing go away. But a lot of it was based on that terrible, terrible overturn of calling that we saw as Evan Mobley fouled. He legitimately fouled, had his hand on his back the whole way, yet the refs overturned it, my friend. That almost cost us the game. All that momentum that you always talk about was just, just wiped away just like that.
I hate to be this guy, but it's something that we have to discuss. I'm looking at the standings for both the West and the East. 1 through 10. You essentially have everyone playing, almost looking like they're all playing the same way. The records are all a couple games behind from 10 to 1. Are we witnessing what's going on in the NFL and the NBA?
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew he was going to say that, John.
The new mediocrity, Joe.
You brought it up at the perfect time. I actually did want to talk about it because I was looking at the standings when
That was an awful overturn.
Sean.
Absolutely awful.
It was awful, and this is why the Eric Lewis situation was thrown under the rug, and the reason why these TV stations or the TV people won't market that or ask more questions about it is because they're worried about $1 billion product telling them to go kick dirt, right? That's what it is. So there are no consequences for these guys being crooks, whether it's premeditated or not. There's no punishment. So what do they have to worry about? Unless they're doing something they're not supposed to do. We are supporting. I don't see it too much in college football. I've been watching a lot of college football the last couple of weeks, by the way. Watched the Alabama game. Amazing, by the way.
Auburn choked it.
And then, of course, the Michigan-Ohio State game. I don't see it in those games. So now I'm starting to feel like this professional side of things is starting to get a little weird. How is it that everything's so even and nice? We're supporting wrestling now. Now, the problem with that is we know wrestling is not, I don't want to say not real. It's not real. Let's just be honest. It's not real, okay? It's a choreographed dance. But they're saying that football and basketball is real. And sometimes I'm watching the game, I'm like, is it? And that might be what's probably gnawing at us a little bit too, besides the fact that there's a very low IQ execution going on in the NBA. Just very, very low key, low IQ. And it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch.
If you can imagine this, imagine how dumbed down the AAU is if they get to this level and it's this bad.
You see, and I thought the NBA wouldn't have this problem because the NBA has always been talent heavy, talent primary. As it's a primary, the talent was always a primary. You can't say coaches.
There was never a shallow gene pool for
Correct.
NBA talent.
Correct. But here's what's happened in the very short amount of time. Usually this takes 20, 30 years for whichever league. Does Phil Jackson, who was just a coach 12 years ago and almost became a coach again 10 years ago, would he be able to coach in today's game? He wouldn't. I don't think he could.
Because you don't think young players would listen to him.
No, they wouldn't. They would not listen to him at all.
And if you needed Joe, this isn't just a problem in basketball, and this isn't just a problem in football. This is a problem in all four sports. Nobody wants to stand up to millionaire kids anymore.
Because that's their ticket to their own money. So, Gerald, when I talk to you about money and I get on you about principles above money, someone who has no money in my life, you can't sit there and say, well, you don't know anything, Joe. You were a trust fund baby. I wasn't. I had no money in my life once, and I have money now. So I can speak on both sides. But at the end of the day, the reason why these things are what they are is because we have allowed principles to take a back seat to money. We talk about it all the time. Oh, well, they're doing it for the money. Oh, well, they're doing it for the money. And we don't put any pressure on them. And then the second you put pressure on them, all of a sudden you get your media credentials taken away. You get your job taken away. It's I don't want to use a political word, but it's got a lot of socialistic and communistic type situations there. That's how you control the masses. So I don't know if it's going to take something big to break out of that again, because I don't see any legitimate journalists anymore. We see the Carissa Thompsons and things like that coming out and admitting their faults, and yet we make a big deal out of it, even
And
though
yet she's not even fired. She's not even let
she's not
go.
fired. But what the hell have we been saying? What have Sean and I and you been saying for what, 2 years now about these guys? What I mean, it's like coming out and saying, "Oh my God, we have high gas prices." Really? It's been like this for 15 years. So why? Because some oil guy came out and said, "Hey, we did this on purpose." Oh my God, I can't believe it, dude. We already know this. So I'm with you on that one,
Through the
TTW.
wire.
But I'm curious to see.
Do you
I
know
think
what that phrase? Do you know what that phrase means?
What?
TTW.
No, I do not.
Okay, I'll explain it to you afterwards.
Good.
Please do. Yes.
I'm actually curious to see what happens when our show becomes a little bit more mainstream. I really, I think that might be the most motivating part about the show, because again, you guys have heard me say this before. I don't like listening to myself. I'm surprised people like to listen to what I say. I can't stand it. But
Yet you've also been quoted as saying, "I only listen to myself."
that's true. That's true, which is why I work alone. So the thing is, I want to see what happens when the noise gets loud again. I don't know when that's going to be. I'm excited about it.
Once again, the Lakers do win.
I had to put
121 to
I had to put it simply there. I don't want to go too far.
like a dramatic pause. So I put in there as far as that they do win 121 to 115. The Lakers go to 10-7. Right now in the Western Conference, they are back up to 7th in the Western Conference, just a half game behind. Well, actually, they're technically the same record, tied with Sacramento Kings, and they are 1/2 game behind the Phoenix Suns in the Pacific Division. So Magic Man, again, it's about consistency with the Lakers not having much this season. One day they're good, one day they're not so good. There's some tendencies we see that are underlining. One of the things I did not like to see as far as the coach, and I really don't want to go ahead and be too hard on Ham for a game that we won, but one of the things I did not like to see was Christian Wood really got it going early, hit 2 threes in a row. All of a sudden, next thing you do is you find him on the bench. Now, mind you, Jackson Hayes continued to play well because he was left out there, but you could see it threw off Wood's entire rhythm for the rest of the game. I don't want to really go hard on as far as Darvin Ham and the way he coached, because there was certain aspects of what he brought in. Obviously, the way he prioritized Max Christie to go ahead and play up on Mitchell for most of the game, obviously was something that was good. Defensively, though, he just never found an answer for the interior, and it just continues like a layup drill time and time again there. So obviously, that's something the Lakers have to work on. But again, just kind of irritating to see when you have a player in rhythm like that, you take them out. They got away with it today, but when you got a guy like Wood, who is just like right now in and out as far as what you get on a game to game basis, it really would be nice to go ahead and just keep him going and keep him in the flow throughout the whole entire game.
Yeah, Gerald. I really thought he was a mismatch.
Rodell, when it's 121 to 15, how many people were good on that end of the floor outside of your good friend Max Christie? Really?
Only Anthony Davis. That was it. Those two
He
guys.
had a lot of chances to block some shots, and
He also that's true, Gerald. But you know what? He picked his spots. He didn't let Mobley or Allen control the offensive glass. He did his job there. But you're right. He did have some opportunities. He kind of let slip by. But for the most part, I thought both those two guys were the most consistent. And yeah, I mean it's an issue. Of course, that was his bread and butter. We're talking about Ham here. That was the bread and butter he came into this job with, was a no nonsense defensive first head coach. And good on him, Gerald. Tonight he made a really good adjustment. We were getting killed between the top of the key and the nail. They were just pounding us. And Dallas pounded us there. And Sacramento has killed us between the top of the key and the nail. I mean, he's trying. I can understand now, just after that epiphany, just watching it, that he really is handcuffed if he doesn't have Cam Reddish and he doesn't have Jared Vanderbilt and he doesn't have Rui Hashimura. It's tough. Those are your probably three best point of attack defenders, and they're all out. Plus another rotational player, so you're missing four rotational players. It came. This road trip kind of came at a good time too, Gerald, because as you said, the Cavs are struggling, and they still put up 115 points. I mean, normally they shouldn't be able to put up that much.
Because they're one of the worst offensive teams.
They
in the
are. They're
NBA.
not even a mid offense. They're one of the worst offenses in the NBA. I mean, we're mid. We're mid, and we scored 120 on a really good defensive team. So I'm with Gerald. I thought the Lakers should have pulled away even quicker than they did.
So how did it feel to you, Magic, when the Lakers were up 8 late in the game, and you could just tell? You could just tell. We've seen this rodeo before, like I mentioned earlier, where they get up late and it's just such a killer. Something always happens where they just that lead goes away. And actually, Joe said this several times during on playback. Several times the Lakers gave up 11-2, 10-0, 8-0 runs that just absolutely are killers. Mind you, that last really great scoring burst by Cleveland was facilitated by that terrible overturn on that call by the refs. But still, man, that's got to be a killer. The Lakers are just giving up in batches like super quickly tonight. And it was just very frustrating to see.
100% Gerald. And as a juxtaposition for that, Ham has a completely different philosophy when it comes to calling these timeouts at crucial moments in the playoffs versus the regular season. If you pay attention, next few games, just mental notes because I've made them. Ham will not call a timeout unless the Lakers give up anything more than a double-digit run. 8-0, 9-2, nothing like that he will call timeout for. But 11-2, 12-4, 15-6, yes, he will call timeout there, Gerald. Befuddles me. Don't quite understand it. At times, those stretches, the game gets away from us, Gerald. We're up 5, and then there's an 11-2 run. We're down by 4 all of a sudden. Come out of the timeout, as Joe has said previously. What kind of play does Ham run? A half-assed curl, or some kind of 5-out motion offense where LeBron or Austin Reeves shoots
Or
a
Jackson
short
Hayes
arm
in
three.
the corner.
What?
Jackson,
What was that? Yeah, what was that about? What was he doing there? That couldn't have been a coaching decision. Please to God, it couldn't have been a coaching decision. But alas, it probably was. But I mean, we're not rambling here, but we're Gerald 10-7 is a good stretch, but we're not quite the overreacting crowd that we were, about 10 days ago.
this is true. And again, offensively, it was a good performance, Joe, outside LeBron. Uh, you know, I wish they would cut down the stupid turnovers from time to time. Just some careless turnovers, like when Max Christie just couldn't even hand the ball off to Austin Reeves, and Austin Reeves a little bit careless with the ball yet again. But outside of that, again, when it comes to it, offensively, very efficient. At times, when you saw them, Joe, head to the basket, movement on offense. When we saw them do that, Joe, good things happened, didn't it?
I have a question. Does anyone know what's going on with this team? Like practice and philosophy and things like that. I don't hear anything out of the Jarn Ireland area. I don't hear anything from Mike Trudell. The only time I hear Mike Trudell is when he's asking questions post game or doing his sideline thing. I don't hear any questions about Darvin, do you use an analytical sheet to set up your lineups? Are you using that every 5 minutes, 12 minutes, quarter to decide who you want in and out of that lineup? I wouldn't think he'd get balked at for that, would he? Would they? These are the questions we need to find out. Why are you taking guys out randomly when they're either playing well or matchups don't work? It has to be something being written down and he's doing, because it's either that or he's stupid. Do you guys think Darvin Ham is stupid?
No.
I don't think he's stupid. So it's got to be something that's predetermined, because it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't look like there's a feel for the game, of the momentum of the game. There isn't a time where he's looking at the refs and going, and I don't think it's not just Darvin Ham. Do you guys see the any coaches really get on these refs anymore? I remember it used to be too much.
I know
We're like-
Malone did the other day in Detroit, but it's not as much as it used to be.
Yeah,
I think Taylor
it's
Jenkins
crazy.
got
It's
fired.
it's
got
similar.
Fine for it, yeah.
ejected. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
it's
got ejected
similar.
too.
It's similar to baseball, where you have lifeless managers that don't really react to anything. The sports is becoming automated. It's becoming a predetermined automation, and the people are now the automated subjects. It's just one after another. So I don't know what's going on, because all I see on Spectrum is 3 clowns on there, and Allie Clifton. Allie Clifton is the only one that actually dresses like a normal person, and actually sounds like she knows what she's talking about. Sorry, James Worthy, I love you, big game James, but you mail in your work pretty much 90% of the time. I mean, I don't even know if he really watches the games a lot of times. You got Robert Ory there, love Robert too, but I don't really know if he's watching the games either the way we are. And then you got Geeter, who's has his tongue surgically up any Lakers rear end in any positive way, never any negative. They could score 0 points and he'll still talk good about them. So I don't know what's going on other than what I'm seeing. Why is this team so undisciplined? Well, everybody in the league is undisciplined. Jesus Christ, I can't believe we watch this sport then, man. It's frustrating to watch ineptness. Is that even a word?
Yes.
Okay, so it's very hard, guys. It's very hard because it doesn't make sense. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. You don't have to pull up for a 3 8 times in a game for no reason. And how many times are you going to do a bounce pass in traffic when everyone's already clogging the paint? How many times are you going to do that?
Think you can thread the needle every single time?
The whole point of threading the needle is that, Brett Favre.
It doesn't happen very often.
Brett Favre probably lost 1 or 2 Super Bowls because of that. Now, some will say, well, he's the gunslinger. That's what made Brett Favre. True. But why don't you do what Patrick Mahomes does? Patrick Mahomes is the same way, but he's still a little tighter. Improve. Get better at that. If you're going to thread the needle, make sure you recognize it faster. Just like Tom Brady, right? His seam routes are going to got better as he became more prepared for it, right? 5-yard outs, 10-yard outs to Welker and Edelman and all these time perfect. He made it look easy, right? He made it look easy. Well, we don't really have any true point guards anymore in the NBA, do we?
There's
True
one.
point
There's
guards.
two. There's two. Trae Young's a true point guard. Trae
Okay.
Young's still the best facilitator in the NBA. And then I would say, Joe, I do think Halliburton. I call him a true point guard at this point, but those would probably be the top tier. That's top shelf right now in the NBA.
Okay. And
those two, and that's it.
That's sad comment. That's a sad commentary too, by the way. Only 2. So what I've gotten from that is we're not going to see the beautiful game that we grew up watching anymore. Now, here's the thing. a true point guard, a true passing point guard, if you look at the past, other than Magic Johnson, they actually don't win championships very often. It's actually more difficult. Chris Paul, Steve Nash, Jason Kidd. Granted, Jason Kidd won a title, but that was towards the end of his year. You know,
Of the sensational 7, we talk about the 7 players with over 10,000 assists. Joe's right.
Mark Jackson. Hell, I mean, you could say Rondo is a true point guard that won, but you don't see a dominance
he was considered the 4th best player on that team at best.
Right. And I've said this before. I'm thankful that I'm thankful that 10 years later, Rondo decided to get a jump shot, because the same guy that allowed us to win in 10 without a jump shot helped us win a title a decade later with a jump shot. I just thought that was a hilarious coincidence, or fortune, I should say. So yeah, the point guard is, at this point, because of that, I believe that's why there isn't one. And sorry, Steph Curry, I can't look at you as a point guard. I know you're probably one of the greatest at handling the ball. No argument there. I could even say top 3 of all time, next to Kyrie and AI, in terms of ball handling. But you're a shooting guard, brother. I mean, if there was a shooting guard that God made, his name was Steph Curry, right? A shooting guard.
Oh, if you transported Steph Curry back to the 71-72 season, he's Gail Goodrich. You're not Jerry West, bro. You're
Absolutely.
Gail Goodrich.
Definitely. And we're witnessing a Mike D'Antoni on everyone's on steroids league now. They're trying to get that ball in that hoop ASAP. And they're taking ill-advised shots. They're threading the needle. They're getting to certain spots. Heck, even on fast breaks, it takes too long to get the layup. They throw it out to the 3 and hope they make the shot. I guess this is the most efficient, skilled, heavy culture now, apparently. If anyone runs a standard offense, are they going to not score as much? Is that the deal? I guess it is.
Once again, the Lakers fast break is right here for you. The Lakers win 121-115 at Cleveland. The next game is on Monday in Philadelphia, but also as well tomorrow, 10 a.m. The Lakerholics are back. Well, at least one half of the Lakerholics, as Laker Tom will stop by for us right there for you. Magic Man, when it comes to the Lakers, this is something hopefully we can start the momentum on a good road trip. I know last time we had a 4-game road trip, didn't start off so well for us in Florida. This time around in Ohio, started off well despite LeBron having a terrible game. I'm hoping that AD, we talk about Max and what a confidence booster this could be for him. Also as well for AD, this is something he should take going forward and be able to say, you know what, he always says all the stuff in the after game, in the locker room, always talks about this and that and always says the right thing, but it never follows through on it. This is a time where he goes ahead, you know what, he played well in that second half and he needs to take that going forward in a matchup against Joel Embiid.
100% Drill. Joe brought up, a very interesting kind of anecdote about Anthony Davis and how somehow he wasn't willing to get up for Domantas Sabonis, Gerald, even though those two guys are neck and neck trying to catch Jokic for the rebounding title this year. He didn't get up for him, but he'll get up for Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. And now, all due respect, very good players, but you're just not at the caliber of center that Dom is. Dom's an all-star. He has potential to be an all NBA player. You don't get up for him, you get up for another tier of big men. That's an interesting question, Joe. Unfortunately, we're the only people who would have the what to ask it, because I think it's important. It's important because I talked about the nail defense and protecting the nail and how bad it's been at times. And in this game for 2.5 quarters, Anthony Davis is kind of responsible for that from last year in the playoffs, Gerald. So, I mean, if there's somebody here who's kind of is fitting a 10-7 Lakers season, it's emblematic of AD's play. Up 3 games, down the next 2, up for 4, down for 2, up for 5, down for another one. It's up and down.
Absolutely. And that's what you have. Joe said this the other day. They're basically or essentially a 500 team are playing like that right around there because that's what we're seeing. One game good, the next game not so good. So you don't know what to expect, especially as the Lakers head into Philadelphia playing against the Philadelphia 76ers. Go ahead, Magic Man.
Oh, thank you, Gerald. Yeah, I didn't. I was waiting for you to finish. Gerald, there are 3 teams in the NBA right now shooting over 43s a game. Do you two gentlemen care to guess which 3 teams those are? Based on their style of play and in combination with winning. All right, I'll give you that's a little bit of a hint.
Celtics, Rockets, Warriors.
You got one, Joe. Yep. Gerald, who do you think the other 2 are?
Celtics, Timberwolves, Nuggets.
Close. No, it's actually the Mavs and the Kings.
Hmm.
All 3 teams are averaging over 40 3-point attempts. Now, it's interesting Joe brought that up. In 2019, the average was 29 threes taken in the league. And 3 years ago, Joe, it got bumped up to 32. Now we're up to 35, which is a huge steep incline, because you've went from, and we talked about this on a previous show, and everyone's seen the stats. Joe made the point that 3-point attempts haven't really gone up dramatically up until about 2014, 2015, and then they've skyrocketed, going from 28 to 40, like in less than 10 years.
Impressive.
So the question now is, will the NBA in a decade have to change this 3-point line? And if they did that, they'd have to widen the court because they can't extend the edges anymore at this point.
Which means in order to make the game more competitive and or a little bit more exciting, what Joe's saying is they're going to have to sacrifice money.
Right, because they have to remove those seats.
Won't
A
do that.
lot of money.
Well, they'll have to build the.
And
They'll have
Gerald's
to build the
shaking
next.
his head no. As soon as
They'll
as
have to
soon
build
as,
the
as soon as
arenas
Gerald's
larger.
right. As soon as they read how much money they'd have to fork over or lose, they'll say forget about it. Throw that thing in the trash where you found it.
I mean, why would you still want to extend the 3-point line? Because they don't hit it at a consistent rate in the first place.
Yeah,
It's to
Gerald's right
deter
about
them. It's
that.
to deter them from shooting as much, so that we can see more fundamental basketball. But
So the AB, so it's interesting, right?
Yeah, but then
The
they just go to long
the
20.
NBA implemented that 3-point line in 1979-80, I believe.
Mhm.
So that's 21, almost 45 years. And at that time, as you know, that it was basically used as kind of a weapon, Gerald. It was more of a gimmick rather than, say, an offensive philosophy. And Joe, you'll know this as well. The ABA also introduced a 3-point line. but their 3-point attempts actually didn't go up. They stayed relatively the same way. Now, what does that speak to? Well, it speaks to the fact that they were both up and down games, but there was a point in time where the ABA was more popular.
Well, for those who want to know about that, there's two leagues that had competition against the NBA and the NFL, and the reason why they merged was because they were a threat, and that was the easiest way to keep them from disrupting the status quo. The AFL, once they got Joe Namath, scared the bejesus out of the NFL because they knew what Joe Namath was going to do. They knew how popular he was. And as far as the ABA, they had Dr. J. And not only was Dr. J good, he was winning there. And that wasn't going to work either. So merging those two was, and they merged them quick. You know, those leagues didn't stay too long. I believe the
Of
ABA
course, of course. Before Al Davis went to sleep, all of a sudden he woke up and he got a phone call that said Tex Schramm and Lamar Hunt made a deal.
Correct. And of
After
course,
Lamar Hunt begged Al Davis to be the AFL commissioner, he literally got on his knees and begged him.
well, I believe that might have been a tactical move on his part to lull Al Davis into a false sense of security.
That's pretty brilliant if that's true.
I'm serious, because I mean,
brilliant.
You got this guy who had enough fear to inflict. Al Davis is their commissioner. We are, and then the moment they're like, "All right, he went to sleep. All right, make the deal. Make the deal. We got what we need from Al." They're scared now. It was
Joe,
a tactical move.
We'll you know what, you may be onto something, because the Raiders never made a move with the Cowboys until Jerry Jones took over as owner.
I love that you brought this up. This is my thing. This is exactly how this works. So for those of you who want to learn something here, again, I would never do a TED Talk or any of this, so it's nice to be able to do it here. When you want to get leverage on something, the smartest thing to do is to create fear that you might be a problem. And then the second you have that, they're paying attention to that problem, that fear, so much. You go around, and it doesn't have to be some scam. It's not a scam. It's, let's use Kawhi Leonard's situation when he was looking to sign with the Lakers or whomever, right? If you take away the fandom, if you take away the feelings on this, the way he set that up, his uncle did it, he did, I don't care who did it, was beautiful. When you look at the business 101, he kept the Lakers just sucking on the teat long enough to where he's like, okay, I'm going to reel these guys in a little bit, make them think that I'm actually going to be there. And for all we know, he might have come anyways, right? Like, he used that as leverage for the Clippers, got who he wanted. Then he's like, look, here's what's going to happen. I have a good feeling. I don't want to go play with LeBron. I don't want to be LeBron's sidekick. I want my own team. Totally get it. I understand. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to weaken them by keeping them on the reel. Okay? We're going to weaken them, and then I'm going to go talk to the Clippers. I know they're desperate. I know they need me. It's very likely they're going to make a deal here for whatever I say. And not only do we get what we want from every facet, I get the player I want. I go to an LA team where I can be in LA, but not be in the shadow of LeBron. And I weaken them because now we reel them in so long they can't go and sign anybody else. They couldn't go focus on a Jimmy Butler maybe that summer or anybody else. When we talk about the early owners, especially in the NFL, the early owners had so much knowledge then and so much principles. There's a reason why, and again, Pete Rozelle played a huge part in that as well. You can't forget that. It was such a dynamic group that made football take over baseball in the 60s. And it hasn't stopped since. And then as far as the NBA was why it's a talent-driven league. The league was dying in the 70s. And you had two of the most popular athletes in the country in Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain coming out of the 60s. And then you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The problem with Kareem, he did kind of make people mad because of his outside the court stuff, but he was still a very popular guy. I mean, the guy was in a movie with Bruce Lee, made a funny movie. Like, he was a very famous guy.
He almost beat Bruce Lee.
Yes.
He almost beat Bruce Lee.
But yet, your league they were saying was going to go down, which I don't know if I necessarily believe that was ever going to happen, because the league had been around way too long for it to die, but that's a story for another day. So with that, we want to get back to the subject at hand here. Again, we're the mental part of all this is, I mean, I feel like there was so much more at a time when we didn't have as much information and as much resources, yet we've kind of dumbed ourselves down and dumbed up things to the point where, like, do you even like read a basic book? Do you even do a little research? Doesn't look like it.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is the Lakers winning 121-115. Do not forget, please do not forget the awesome supplement that Magic Man has been trying out. It is called, quite coincidentally, Magic Mind. Go ahead and look at it today on magicmind.com. And if you like what you see, because they say if you use it like Magic Man's already using it, it can crush procrastination, brain fog, and boost your motivation and focus. It has a lot of great ingredients in it. It's gluten-free, keto-friendly, BPA-free, paleo-friendly, no nuts, vegan-friendly. It's really tasty, according to Magic Man. And it's really good for you, supposedly. Maybe, could be, might be. It really help out in a lot of ways, according to Magic. So go ahead and check out today and see if it's something that you might like and might be interested in. And if you decide to buy a 15 or 30 bottle set, go ahead and put in the code Lakers20. That's right, Lakers20, and you'll get 20% off your order today at Magic Mind. All right, guys, great show. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Laker Nick for hosting the pregame with me, and also playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, and Joe Sorrell, who was there throughout. Wasn't the prettiest thing in the world for us to see, especially with he's having Magic Mind now. He's having more Magic Mind now for more brain focus. Maybe Joe could use a little bit more brain focus.
There's a blackberry currant. That's what I'm tasting. It's pretty good.
It is clipper free too, according to what I see in the notes.
Yeah.
It's clipper free. I can tell you that for sure. So yes. Absolutely.
And my mind's so focused right now, Gerald. I know that Rashawn Holmes isn't the answer for the Mavs at center.
Derek Lively, 2 years in the future, may be that answer, but not right now, not just yet. Cool Bro says, Joe, you just got roasted by Joe. Nah, that was kind of tame. I wasn't trying to roast him too hard. Because then he just gets mad, he gets ornery, and just spends the whole day, rest of the day, trying focused. Speaking of focus, I'm trying to go ahead and do a comeback. So I want to just go ahead. We're on good terms today. He's been really awesome today on playback. See, you see what you started, Cool Bro? He's doing his little stuff again. Yeah, whatever. He's so mature. Joe never graduated out of grade school. Never. You could buy those. I'll just let you know.
Yeah, you can. You can buy them.
Don't they sell those at Spencer's Gifts? Oh, I'm glad I'm glad you can really do your calligraphy real well there, Joe. Yes, the forgery, it really helps.
You're on mute.
You've been
You're
on
on
mute this
mute.
whole time.
He's been on mute the whole time. A university education.
That's why I thought you were mocking because you were on mute the whole time. Uh, we love you, Joe, and the crowd does too, obviously. Remember, I'm just the guy in the background. You guys are in the foreground. I'm the one that's supposed to be relegated to the background right here at the Lakers Fast Break, according to what you guys said. So,
You
but
see
I
this
will.
over here?
Yes,
Yeah,
we saw it.
more proof.
Ox 1947, indeed. No one will dispute that on you. So cool,
No,
bro. I'm glad
I've
infotainment
seen
right there.
some of the pictures. The man is telling the truth.
Yes. I'm glad we're entertaining you guys out there.
There's been some embellishments in my life, but because you can get caught up in telling stories, and a lot of times they're like, "Wait a minute, I shouldn't overinflate this in case they do their homework." Which
Joe, you're a lot smarter than Carissa Thompson.
Well, look. Here's the thing.
Why did you even admit that?
My buddy Jesse, he didn't believe me when I said I put someone in the torture rack. Lex Luger's finishing hold. Yeah. And he thought I was full of crap. I'm like, oh okay.
I love how they call it a backbreaker, and it's actually you got the guy, and it's the ribs that are actually
And again, this wasn't a small guy. This was a big guy. So when we used to have an annual cave party at the fraternity house. One of the things I did was I put him in the torture rack. I didn't obviously squeeze. I just put him in my back, and we took a picture. It was a landscape picture, so you could see everything. And I had the whole look, and I was doing this, and he looked at the picture, and it was one of those looks because I wanted to see what people talk, but once in a while, people will come out with some evidence, right? So I showed him the picture. I was like, dude, when I tell you I did shit, you need to believe me. I go, my whole philosophy in life is to tell the truth. The only people I lie to are people that call the telemarketers. Like, that's it. Lying is a waste of time. I said, dude, there you go. There you go. So just believe me when I say it. When I say things, just believe me, because I'm not going to lie. I have no reason to lie.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. The Lakers do win 121.
By the way, do I watch Carissa Thompson? I'm not going to lie. I do. And I didn't care. I didn't care. She
That's for another show.
Hey, I wanted to prove it even more.
Cool, bro. You sent us down the dark path, indeed. But
thank you for doing that. Thank you, because again, I want that to be clear.
Okay, it is Crystal.
All hail
Crystal.
Yes. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. The Lakers do win 121-115. They now are 10-7 on the year. Again, they're essentially in a tie with the Sacramento Kings and a half game behind the Phoenix Suns in the Pacific Division. We'll see you tomorrow with the Lakerholics. Laker Tom, he's got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. He'll just, have a whole bunch of trade proposals, I'm sure, as well. Want to trade half the team already, like, most of you guys out there. But we'll see what happens when he stops by for Lakerholic Spotlight. Also, as well, on Monday, don't forget the pregame. Playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break for, of course, the game against Philadelphia. That's on Monday. And then, of course, the best post game in town right here. And please, again, if you're interested in Magic Mind, you saw Magic use it during the show. It really, he's been talking a lot of stuff off camera about this, been raving it really hard. It's about Magic Mind, magicmind.com. Go ahead, check it out. And if it's something that you might be interested in, just use the code Lakers20 right there and check out. Type that code in and you get 20% off your order on a 15 or 30 bottle order today. Thanks so much again for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow with the Lakerholics, or at least one half of which, Laker Tom, of course. Jamie is camping somewhere. Yeah, he's an outdoor guy. He's doing his outdoorsy thing. So, Laker Tom.
Voluntarily living like a homeless person is what
Well, you've
Kathy
called him
is.
a hippie before, so that's not much of a stretch.
Well, I've there's been, hey, we're gonna go camping. Want to go? No.
Rodell, if
Why
it's for the
not?
right person, he'll trade Christian Wood as well.
I can't take that line though. That was my friend Robert who said that line. That cracked me up. Why?
Darren, Rodell,
It is
Blue
cougar
Magic, Cool
season.
Bro,
Those things don't mess around.
Adam, Alan, Hassan, Tears of Joy, Darren, of course, everybody that was a great part of what we do. Thank you again for the super chat.
I don't think Joe could take a bear. I'd give him a shot against a mountain lion, though.
Okay. Joe versus the mountain lion. Joe
Yeah.
versus the bear. Okay.
I don't know what I would do with a mountain lion. The first instinct I have is put my arm.
But they're very agile.
Yeah,
Like,
it would be to get my arm here, but then I'm losing my arm.
because
I wouldn't want to hit. I wouldn't want to get hit in the face. Bear might as well. What is it? Run downhill or something?
No, that's with bears, and you're supposed to run like around, weaving. Bears only run up or like sideways. They can't.
Here's a beautiful thing about me, Sean. About that. First of all, I don't go in the woods.
I know you don't.
So
I
no
know
worry
you
there
don't.
about the bears. Now, mountain cat for sure. There could be a chance here. A lot of hills here, and there's a lot of sightings of mountain cats.
I got to be honest, Joe. There was an article that came out in the paper last week that says bear encroaching has increased in California by, I think it was about 112% over the past 6 years.
I'd be interested in seeing why. Is it more dumb nuts feeding these things?
I would probably say that's correct.
More people camping.
Well,
Hey,
there's
honey,
a lot more guys.
Let's pull over
Don't
and
get eaten
feed
by a
all
bear.
the
There's a
bear
lot of
cubs.
people living out of their cars now willingly. I'm not talking about bums either. I'm talking about people who are like, look, we want to travel. We're overlanders now. So it makes sense. My buddy made a business in that world with recovery bags and high-end bags. It's a big business now because there's a lot of people.
Alan, we were in Red Deer, Alberta. We're hunting. We're in a blind. My friend Terry decides he's going to go down and take a leak. Halfway down, we see a group of Kodiak bears walking our way. You know what Terry did, Alan? He got up so fast, I didn't even know what to say. And that was after the park rangers told us, don't worry about it, guys. There's no bears out here. We haven't spotted any bears out here for about 2 weeks. Thanks.
At least you didn't meet up with the cocaine bear.
Oh my God. I
still
still haven't seen that movie.
I still have to watch that movie. Yeah, I didn't.
That's hilarious.
I know it's Ray Liotta's last film, so I kind of want to delay watching it as long as possible because it's sad thinking about that's Ray's last role.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do win 121-115. We'll be back tomorrow for Lakerholic Spotlight. You know, Laker Tom is going to talk up a storm, and I'll have to hear about it. I'm waiting for it and waiting for the crazy trades that he might come along with it. But you know what? We're always glad to have him aboard, and we're also glad to have Magic Man and Sean, of course, right here, and of course, Joe Soros. So glad to have those guys with us. And of course, we're glad to have you, most importantly, and most of all, here with us right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.